Hey everybody, I really do hope you love listening to The Meg and James Show. Did you know that you can actually get paid just for listening to this podcast? I know it sounds insane, but it's true. We just discovered this free new app called Podcoin, and it literally pays you to listen to podcasts. So here's how it works. You listen to podcasts and you earn Podcoin while you listen. Then you turn that Podcoin in for gift cards at places like Amazon or Starbucks. Or if you're a good, generous person, you can even donate that Podcoin to charity. The more you listen, the more you earn. So here's what you do. Download the app right now on iPhone or Android, and I have a special code for you. Simply use our code, Megan James, and you'll get 300 Podcoin just for signing up. And if you listen to enough of us on here, then you can get a cappuccino at Starbucks or an Amazon gift card on us. So go ahead and go listen to this podcast or virtually any podcast on Podcoin and sign up with the code Megan James. I swear it'll change the way you listen to podcasts. Hey everybody, so we have some awesome news for you today. We just got the opportunity to partner with the app Fitbod. And for those of you who haven't heard of it, it is a fantastic app that will allow you to have a personal trainer in your pocket on your phone that you have access to at any point in time. It's not a person, it's an app that will take your fitness goals, your health goals, and transcribe them into personalized workouts just for you. They can do home workouts, body weight workouts, they can do full gym equipment workouts. You can actually select the muscles you want to target as well as the equipment you have available, and they will build you a workout based strictly off that, and they'll calculate the time it takes to do that workout. So you can choose if you have 15 minutes, 30 minutes, even an hour, and they'll build you a workout just for that. So we are very fortunate to have this. I've been using Fitbod for a long time and I love them. I love the app. So in regards to our partnership, they've actually made it even better for you guys. If you want to join now, you can type in the promo code MEGAN25. That's MEGAN 25 when you download the app from Fitbod. That gets you 25% off. The annual membership is around $50. So a general partnership with a personal trainer, 1 hour-long session is a minimum of $60. So you're actually only paying $50 a year for a personal trainer anytime you want it, as many times a day as you want it. It's fantastic. They have a free edition as well. I've had the paid membership for years and I will never go back. It's fantastic. So I recommend checking them out. If you decide to get it, if you decide to download it, make sure you use the promo code MEGAN25. You'll get 25% off, and you'll also be supporting our podcast because any funds that we get from that transaction go back into our podcast account to download more equipment, software updates, anything like that. So you're helping us too. So it's a win-win, and I know you guys will love it. All right, guys. Thanks for listening, guys. And here's our show. What's up, guys? It's Megan James coming at you live from the Megan James Show. Today, I want to talk to you about what I do. So we've touched on what a life coach does and the differences between what a life coach is versus a mentor or, someone to look up to. So we've gone through the differences in those. But I haven't actually taken you through a session. So I feel like this can help so many of my audience members out there. So many of you struggling to come into your own, or you're at a crossroads in your life maybe, and you're thinking of jumping out into the clear blue water and striking out on your own and chasing after your dream, but that fear is just keeping you standing still. So today I want to talk to you about something called a life design blueprint. You can call it a blueprint for your life, design for your life, whatever you want to call it. It's basically a blueprint to live your life by to achieve whatever goal or outcome your desire is. So whatever you desire most, whether it's to have a fruitful marriage, children, big house, professional success, both. I don't know what your goals are, but you can find them by doing some self-reflection. So one of the steps that I take people through, and I'm not going to go in order, we're going to talk vaguely about some stuff, but I've got some worksheets here and we're going to kind of work through them together. It's something I take clients through from the jump, but it's basically my way of figuring out who you are, what your goals are, and to make sure you're going to stick with the program. I want to find out, how serious you are, if you're actually committed to this. I actually sit down and make sure I find out what are your biggest reasons for not achieving your goals so far. And usually there's like 6 to choose from. I can't think of a good enough reason to plan my life. Why haven't you planned your life up until this point? Some people didn't know it was a thing, right? So I typically sit down and say, okay, you don't have a life blueprint. Why is it? Some people say, I can't think of a good enough reason. I don't understand how life planning will help me. I can't be bothered to put in the effort. Life planning is too challenging. I'm afraid I won't achieve my goals. Or the more common, I'm not serious about life planning. So a lot of you just haven't taken it seriously enough to really develop your own plan. Many of you just didn't know it was a thing. So it makes sense that if you're going to plan your collegiate success, right? So from the time we're in school, we're planning what classes we're taking each semester. We're planning what those credits are, if they align with our quote unquote pathway, and if they'll count towards college credits. So you're planning all these monumental changes throughout your childhood and young adult years. And then you get out into your own and you're like, fuck it. I mean, I really don't know how else to describe it, but that's pretty much what we do. We're like, oh, well, Jesus, take this wheel because I don't know what to do with it. We're just going in circles here. And we forget that the plan has made us successful up until this point. Now, I always talk to people about, he who does not plan plans to fail, or she who does not plan plans to fail. I talk about this, but the real truth of the matter is that someone's sitting in the shade today because someone planted a tree a long time ago. And what that means to me is, you may think it's too late. Maybe you're 30, maybe you're 50, maybe you're older than that, maybe you're younger than that, and you may think either it's too late or it's too soon to really begin a life plan. It's never too soon. You can begin a life plan with your kids, and you can change that plan as much as you like. It's meant to revisit over and over and over and over again. But some of the problems, I call them the 7 deadly sins, and I didn't make that up, actually. It's the 7 deadly sins of goal setting. And, a long time ago, I took a course from Kain, Ramsey about life coaching. And he is the man, the myth, the legend. He's a really cool guy. But he talked about the 7 deadly sins. And number 1 is not writing your goals down. It's crucial to put them down in print because then you can see it. If you're not looking at it out of sight, out of mind, that's why your goals are disappearing. So the number 1 thing that people don't do is put their goals down, and that's why they don't get accomplished. Number 2 is having unclear motivations. That comes in to be your why. What's your why for this? Why do you want to do this? What is your motivating factor? Number 3, you're setting unrealistic goals. Okay, so maybe before you set a goal to plant an entire forest, maybe you should start with planting 1 tree. So you still have the end goal of building an entire forest, but you're going to break it down into smaller, more achievable goals, short-term goals. This would look like planting healthy grass, planting a tree here, a tree there, factoring out what kind of trees you want to have in your forest and taking actionable steps each day to build that forest. You're not going to build the forest in 1 day. So that's typically what goal setting is like. If you're trying to build a family, have a successful career, have happiness, financial success, be financially independent, debt-free, all those things aren't going to happen in 1 day. So you can't kick yourself in the ass when you're not there yet. It takes time. So going back to the sin, sin number 4 is not having an effective plan. So that basically just comes down to being patient and enjoy the process. This is life. Invest time into planning the journey so you can take the best route and get there in the best possible time. So take the time now. If you're not having an effective plan, if you're not sitting down to really write down your shit, you're not going to succeed. You're not going to have a route to follow. You're going to be wandering around lost in the woods and the wilderness with no map, no compass, no guide. You're not going to get very far. So sin number 5 is not taking appropriate action. Y'all, this got me for a long time. I would talk about, well, I'm doing stuff. I'm going to bed late. I'm doing shit. Well, what I was doing was taking courses. I was reading books, which are all good things, but in moderation. So you don't want to be educating yourself so much and not taking action on what you're learning, because then it's just going to waste. So it feels like you're taking action because you're studying the fuck out of this and you're talking to mentors, but you're not taking action on what you're studying. So it's not reinforcing the concepts and really not doing anything to further you and your goals. Sin number 6, losing focus. I'm guilty of it, guys. ADHD, I get it. But successfully achieving your goals requires focus, commitment, persistence. And you might lose this every now and then along your route, but it's important that you don't quit. It's so important that you don't use that as a reason to quit. You're going to lose focus. Everyone does. But you're going to get it back on track. Whether it's losing weight, whether it's getting your bank statements in order, or, finding your place in the work sphere, whatever it is, you're going to get off track every now and then. You're going to get distracted. Just don't let that be your final step off, your final stop on the bus. Sin number 7 is no follow through. All right, so life planning and goal setting is a lifetime process. And it's pretty much pointless to have sat down and gone through a life plan and have all these personalized set of goals, and it just sits in your drawer and you don't do anything with it and it just gathers dust. So if you're going to do this, if you're committed to really designing a life that you want to live, you got to have follow through. So, after we discuss this stuff, we talk about commitment, we talk about Peter F. Drucker, we talk about stuff like that, and, do some exercises. And, I just think it's really important just right out the gate to lay out, what life planning is, the common pitfalls. These are the things you need to avoid. And then we jump right into what the summary of life planning and goal setting process looks like. So there's basically 5 main stages. And stage 1 is getting a vision for your life, figuring out what you want your life to look like. Stage 2 would be knowing what you want, which can be more difficult than you think. Writing it all out can help you define it a little bit better. Stage 3, defining your future goals. Stage 4, preparing an action plan. And stage 5, review, adapt, and adjust. So like I said, this is a lifetime process. You're going to come back and redo this over and over and over and over again. So I'm going to jump right in. I'm flipping through, I've got my book out, what I normally go through. I'm in section 2 right now. And this isn't something that you can sit down and do in 30 minutes, guys. My binder is about 2 inches thick and it's full. So this is something that takes time. It may take you a couple of weeks, maybe, longer than that. Just depends on how committed to the process you are and how in depth you want to go. But it looks at everything from personality profiling to behavior preferences, intelligent preferences, personal motivations. We go through all this. We talk about your personality profile, whether it's D for dominant, I for influencer, S for steady, or C for compliant. I can teach you all about that, but basically each one has its strengths, its limitations. Influence would be like Bill Clinton, Katie Couric, Magic Johnson. Dominance would be Margaret Thatcher, Vince Lombardi. Compliance would be more like Jackie Kennedy, Bill Gates. They're the, want to work with procedure, rules, and ensure success, versus steadiness works well with others, team building. People like Mother Teresa, Charlie Gibson, certain ones like that. So we talk about what your actual profile is for you. And the reason why I'm not spending a whole lot of time on this is because this is a session that, is broken up into multiple sessions just to get your life plan out on paper. So it's something that I do in person, but it's also something I do online. It's something that we can do. I can pre-record videos and send them to my clients. I don't like to use the same video because I feel like it's impersonal, and I'd rather have a Skype type atmosphere, a video conference where I ask you a question, you answer the question, because it's more interactive. So I don't typically record videos unless it's like, you've been sick in the hospital, that kind of thing. But one of the things I recommend is take the personality visual DNA test. So the link to that I'm actually going to provide in the episode notes of this podcast. But it's just a quiz. It's a free quiz that you can take to better understand your DNA personality. It's a visual DNA personality quiz. I'm not going to spoil it or give you too much information on it, but it's a good way to get started to figure out where your strengths lie and what you can do with those strengths in terms of what you want to accomplish. We talk about your personal aptitude and intelligence. That'd be like your type of intelligence. Are you naturalistic intelligence, which would be people who they're sensitive to the natural world, they have like a green thumb, or musical intelligence. You're musically smart. You're good at rhythm and pitch and tone, and you recognizing, certain beats and notes being played. And so those are two, but you also have logical mathematical intelligence. Who can forget that guy in high school, man? That they put that long problem on the board and he's just like, oh yeah, it's this and this and this. And the rest of us are sitting there like, what the fuck just happened? Was that English? Did we learn this all year? So you have logical thinkers like that. You have the existential intelligence. Sorry guys, it's getting late. But those people are basically, they go about their daily lives. They don't give much thought to their existence. And the difference between these people, the people who don't give thought to their daily existence, and the existential intelligence go deep into their thoughts. Really, really fucking deep. They think about life and death. They think about probing questions in the universe, stuff that no one thinks about. They're really, really in tune and self-aware. The interpersonal intelligence is, I'm trying to think of a way to describe it. Basically just makes it possible for people to communicate effectively, both verbal, nonverbal. They can sense moods and stuff like that. So they're better at communicating. So you typically see it with politicians, social workers, actors, teachers. There's the bodily kinesthetic intelligence. So body smart people, they possess the ability to stay coordinated. They're graceful. Sports, they have perfect timing, great, dancers, craftspeople, athletes. These are all examples. Linguistic intelligence, these are people that use a lot of words, like public speakers, journalists, novelists. They have the human ability to think basically in words, and they use that to make themselves, I guess, more understood. So instead of using like examples or hands-on things, they're able to actually use their words to confer a point, or to convey a point. See, I'm mixing up my words. My bad, guys. So interpersonal intelligence is number 8. That's your 8th profile. These individuals have exceptional ability to understand themselves, their thoughts. This is your most self-aware, self-smart type profile. So you see this more commonly with philosophers, writers, spiritual leaders, and, psychologists. People like that, they really know themselves. They're self-motivated. I definitely fall into this category, and a lot of you probably do as well. Number 9, the spatial intelligence, is basically those that consider things in 3 dimensions, mental imagery, spatial reasoning, artistic graphic skills. People like architects, painters, sculptors, pilots, all these people fit into this category. So I'm going to breeze right over that. We're going to, I basically would simulate this Howard Gardner multiple intelligence test. It's actually pretty fantastic. It's just a short little quiz that I take people through. They'd answer a certain way, and based on their answers, we would determine which of those personality types are them. So like one of the questions would be, I never read instructions, yes or no. I enjoy spending time with other people, yes or no. I sometimes talk to myself, yes or no. I find it easy to identify different plants and animals, yes or no. stuff like that. We help identify which one of those intelligence profiles best fits you. And you may have, it's not uncommon to have 3 or 2, but most people have 2. And I think mine was interpersonal and bodily kinesthetics. So the thing that was most not like me, that I was terrible at, was logistical, mathematical intelligence. I was way in it. I was like -6 or some crazy stuff. So definitely not my type of intelligence. So we take you through that to really figure out, your strengths, your weaknesses, what makes you think, what makes you pop. We go through some exercises. I'm trying to give you guys some examples. We'll start to talk about how to define your personal values, which is a really cool way. We reflect on your life and how you find identity. What you tie your identity to is a value. It's a personal value, something that makes you confident, you're positive about. So we start by identifying times in your life when you were at the happiest. Give examples from your personal life and your career. When were you happiest? What were you doing? Were you with other people? Who were they? What other factors contributed to your happiness? And we kind of just delve in from there. Another exercise is identifying times in your life when you were most proud. Give examples. Why were you proud? Did you share your pride with others? Who? What other factors contributed to this feeling of pride? And we go through several exercises like this to find out what made you happy and why. And out of that, we start building off of your values. And that's when it gets fun, because some people think they know their values at their core. But when we start doing these exercises, they're like, holy shit, like I never translated that into my values. It never occurred to me that was, and most of the time, if you're self-aware, you're going to be aware of what your values are, but there may be a couple that kind of catch you off guard. So we take all of that and we start building, goals and your greatest life mission. And the cool part about going through your greatest life mission is that's like your whole process, your vision basically for your future. So it'd be like, how would you define personal success is one of the questions I throw at people. What's because everyone's definition of success is totally different. So what's your personal definition of success? What are your most prominent characteristics? What are your finest personal qualities? How would you not like to be remembered? What value do you contribute to the world and all the people who are in it? So these are things that you're looking at in the future. You're looking at now kind of how you feel, but you're also looking at it, when you leave this world, what kind of impact have you left? What do you want somebody writing on your tombstone? And that's actually, this is kind of sad, but it's one of the exercises I have people do is they write a tombstone on their tombstone. There's a picture of a tombstone, and I have people write what they want it to say, and it can be as short or as long as you want it to be. But I find that really giving people this, because when you're a first responder, you see death every day. You know how close it is. You know that tomorrow's not promised to anyone. And so you get very comfortable with assessing your situation, and most of us knowing how we want to leave this world. We have to grow comfortable with that to maintain that job, right? I'm no longer in law enforcement, but I still maintain that belief, that mindset. But a lot of people who are not in those kinds of careers, they don't have that. So to bring this display, this imagery into their lives is kind of shocking, but it's a good shock. It's the kind of shock they need to get out of their shit. And the whole reason behind this life design is to get you out of your shit and get you back into the mindset to grow a life you're proud of. And we go into all areas. We talk about social and family relationships, which suck sometimes, but we got to get into it. We talk about your money and your personal finances, your career, your education, your aspirations, your health, your recreation, your leisure. Things like how content are you with the amount of free time you have? True or false, I can handle my stress and anxiety levels effectively. Scale of 1 to 10. How much do you currently enjoy life outside of work or study? Scale of 1 to 10. I have room for improvements in my life outside of work and or study. We'll talk about your life routines. This is now you're starting to see this is a super, super duper in-depth way of building a life plan. And I wish that I could put all this information into this one podcast episode, but to be honest, guys, it's not possible. It would be me talking incessantly for like 4 days. I think I was starved to death before I'd actually finished the recording. Maybe one day is like an audiobook or something like that. I can put something together for you guys to play on the road to work or something like that. But for now, just going into, talking about, we'll break down some of the goals, defining your main goals. So the components of SMARTER goal. S stands for specific, because I can't help it. This is how I remember shit. I've always remembered stuff with some sort of rhyme, rhythm, song, or abbreviations. So SMARTER goals, the S stands for specific. So a very specific goal. You don't want something vague like, I want to be a life coach. Okay, well, there's so many different types of life coaches. What do you want to coach? Do you want to coach high performance habits? Do you want to coach face-to-face? Do you want to coach purely weekend sessions, or you want to do private sessions? What kind of realm do you specialize in? For me, it's lifestyle design. So the M stands for measurable. So each of your goals need to be measurable. You need to be able to measure how far you're getting along. You need to break them down, right? And measure your progress. So how much further do I have left to go would be one of the questions you would ask. Or when will I be likely to reach my target? How will I know if I'm making tangible progress? These are things that you need to know to figure out if you're on the right track. The A stands for action focused. So setting action focused goals is critical to accomplishing anything in life. There's no point in having a goal to win the lottery if you don't take the action to buy the ticket, right? I always make that joke. I'm like, hey, honey, you win the lottery today? And she's like, no. And I was like, damn, I guess we should start buying tickets. And there's been several jokes like that, but it's true. You can't expect the results if you're not taking the action. And you guys know I harp on that all the time. The R stands for relevant. So your goal has to be relevant to your greatest life vision, that thing that we just laid out. It has to be something that deals with that. Your long-term main goal that you want to achieve has to be relevant to that. The T stands for time specific. A deadline. You want a deadline. It should be integrated into your goal somehow, some sort of timeline. Because being time specific is going to help you measure your success along the path to reaching your goal. So things like, I'm trying to think. Okay, so for goals that have like a measurable finish, so like a weight loss goal, it's important to set a time frame or a deadline for specific results. So you don't want to say something like, I want to lose 35 pounds in 2 weeks, because A, that's immeasurable, right? So that goes against the M part of it. But it's also, while it's time specific, it's too short of a time. So you want, instead of saying like 35 pounds in 2 weeks, maybe make it more measurable, 5 pounds in 2 weeks. Depending on how you lose weight, maybe it's even 3. I don't know. It could take a little bit. But you want to set time-specific goals. All serious goals should have a time-bound deadline, specifying the exact time and date that you'd like to have your goal completed by. So, I want to have my master's degree on May 31st of 2025. Not me. I don't want my master's degree, but somebody out there does. And, when we were setting our goals for achieving our 4-year bachelor's degrees, we knew that we would graduate by, I don't fucking remember, July 18th. And mine was old. So like July 18th, 2013, I wanted to have 2 bachelor's degrees. And I did. I walked out with 2 bachelor's degrees. So many of you are going to have things like that. The E stands for exciting and enjoyable. So regardless of what your goals are, if you don't personally find them fun, exciting, enjoyable, then you're probably not going to find the motivation to fulfill them. So make sure it's something you're excited about, that you're lit up about, and you actually want to accomplish. Not something that you're trying to do to fulfill somebody else's expectations, like your parents, your friends, something like that. Maybe somebody called you fat and suddenly you think you need to lose weight, but you're not really feeling it. That's one of the biggest turnoffs of somebody losing weight. They're doing it for somebody else. So it has to be for you, can't be for anyone else. The R stands for revise. After evaluating the success of your goal, it's good to practice the revise. So go back through the whole assessment, smarter goal setting process, and revise everything that you've written down. Fix goals that you've already accomplished, build new ones. If something wasn't working out, adjust it. And, ask yourself, are the goals I've been pursuing still relevant to my life? And is this what I still want? Is this what I still need? So assess yourself, assess your goals. And, we have several exercises for doing that. If you guys are interested, give me a shout. I can talk about it. I'm basically just going through this very briefly. We'll prepare an action plan, which is critical to your success. It does you basically no good to map out all these freaking goals and visions and life plans when you don't have an actionable template to act off of. So it's just giving you steps that you need to take in order to achieve the goals. I don't really have any good examples because I didn't start out with like a basic fake goal. For the sake of argument, it probably would have got really convoluted and awkward. But that's just because it would be like a hypothetical scenario. If we sit down one-on-one and I'm able to have a conversation with you about your goal, your answers are going to base what our next part of the assessment will say. So, I think it's important that people really realize, because I never really went into detail in our first podcast episode when I talked about lifestyle design. I never really went into an explanation of what it is, how I use it, how I help people, how it's helped me. So as most of you know, I was in law enforcement. I was on patrol. I used to really enjoy the job. When I first got started, it was a great job. I had a great time. I was proud of what I did, and I thought that I'd chosen a really great profession, and found a way to really help people. And that lasted about 2 years. And policing changed drastically. And I found myself caught in a crisis. I found myself identifying with my career. I sold out to that identity of, I'm a cop. And things started to change when I realized I fucking hated my career. I hated everything about it. I hated the admin. Hated it. The thing that stressed me out so bad, I would put on my uniform and get sick, physically ill. I'd get in the car, in my patrol car to drive to work, and I'd have to stop and throw up. And it wasn't scared. I wasn't scared because, every day is unknown. You don't know what you're going to encounter every day. But I wasn't scared for the unknown. I was scared that every day I risked getting fired, getting sued. I was sick of having administrative staff come in and bitch me out. Everyone, all of us, for something none of us did. It was one person. It's just the same shit. You're getting painted with a wide brush from society and your admin, and you feel like you've got no support from anyone ever. And it started taking a toll. And it happened after I was involved in a pretty bad crash on duty. One that I didn't know at the time was that serious, but I could have very quickly passed away from. 6 inches saved my life, and I'm very thankful for it today. But I did unfortunately get some negative side effects. I had a compound fracture. I broke my arm in 3 places, concussion, ended up getting PTSD, and just working through my diagnosis now. So it sucks, but there's good to be found in everything. Out of that, I got out of a career that would probably have ended up very toxic for me. I think everyone is called into that career. I don't think it's something you just wake up one day and do. So I think I was called in for a very short period of time, and that's what it was meant to be. And out of that, I found myself in a non-sworn position, I won't say voluntarily, and I really came to become more self-aware. I'd always been pretty self-aware up until then. And I started to really dive deep and figure out what I want to do, what makes me happy. And what makes me really freaking happy is helping people get out of their shit. So when I was happiest on patrol, I was helping people, whether I was helping them leave their abusive spouse, or helping some guy find a ride home, or helping this guy catch the shitty dirtbag that fraudulently charged his card, or the little asshole that stole millions of dollars of jewelry from an old lady. You know, you encounter cases like that. Well, life is like that. You just got to find your shitty dirtbag. And I'm not saying that criminals are shitty. Criminals are just people who made bad decisions. There are monsters out there. There are people that are horrifically evil, and I've seen them. I've dealt with them. But I've also dealt with the people who just fuck up their life a great deal. They make bad decisions repeatedly, and not excusing that behavior at all. But it's two entirely different groups of people you're playing with. But there's a way to help them both. So you don't have to be a cop to do it. You don't have to be a priest. You don't have to be a doctor. You know, you can help the world. You can make a massive impact in the world just by finding your niche. You know, figure out what it is you want to do. You have Gary Vaynerchuk out there in media, and he's also at the same time kind of a life coach. And he's just giving people props for doing what they want to do and living the good life. And he's talking shit that he knows a lot of shit about. You know, he's got people interested in flipping sports cards again, because when's the fucking last time that happened? Like the 90s? When they ruined everything? Don't get me started. That's a sore spot. But I'm serious at the same time. You know, you got to find your niche. You got to find what lights you up. And a great way to do that is planning your life. If you don't know how to do it, don't just go download a free downloadable PDF that's going to take your email and they're going to spam you for the rest of your life. Please, God, don't do that. Hit me up. I'll see what I can come up with. Or, you know, I can refer you to another life coach if you don't want to work with me. Totally fine. I got a bunch of friends. And, you know, the important thing is to get help. I was scared on patrol to get help. I was scared because I knew something was wrong. I was losing time, periods of my life of amnesia. I was having a lot of shit going on. And I was really scared to talk about it because there's a stigma in law enforcement against mental health. And, you know, I went on my way, got help for it, you know, still to this day, still getting help with everything I got going on. But I have far more hope and excitement for my future and happiness for my future than I ever did. And I'm really grateful for that. So I want more people to find what I found through this process, which is why I got into this to start with. It's not because I'm some damn genius. I'm not some, you know, I'm not your guru. I'm not Tony Robbins. I'm not any of those people. I'm just me, you know? I made shitty choices in my life. I went through a bunch of bad stuff. I ate shit for a long time to try to get ahead, but I was munching on the wrong shit. You know, I went through hard times. I've been through good times, but I've learned the things that worked and the things that didn't work out of all of that. And this podcast is just to share that stuff with you. Maybe it'll help, maybe it won't. Take it with a grain of salt. You know, you can get something from any of these episodes that might help you now. And so that's pretty much the whole point. I hope this helps some of you. I hope it gives you an idea of what lifestyle design is, what a life blueprint looks like. And, you know, I credit mine completely to Kain Ramsey. I've never altered his. I don't sell it to anybody because it's his product. You know, I give it to my friends and stuff like that, but I never remarketed it, never rebranded it. He offers you the opportunity to if you take one of his classes, but in my opinion, he designed this material. He should get credit for it. He's a genius. And I think coaching isn't about the personalized branded materials that you're offering your clients. You shouldn't spend all this time making sure you get those things perfect, because guess what? They're already fucking out there. Those materials are already out there. You don't need to reinvent the wheel. Some of them may not say what you want them to say. Then you can alter them. You can rebrand them. That's fine. But you don't have to go around your ass to get your elbow to start coaching or start anything. You're overthinking it. I guarantee you're overthinking it. So my advice, just take a second, sit down, and go over some of the topics we talked about. If you need some help, hit me up. You guys, you know that all of my information is in the episode notes. Crucial information, links to stuff we talk about, maybe a couple of timestamps, you know, all of my social contact information, Instagram, Facebook, I think Snapchat's in there. I don't fucking know, LinkedIn, Patreon, all this shit is in there. So you can hit me up on multiple platforms whenever. And I put it out there for you guys. It's not to make me look, oh, like, I'm so cool, I'm so approachable. No, it's for you guys to use. If you want to talk about the content on the show, what kind of content you want to see more of, or, what I can do to help you, or if you just have a quick question, it's for you guys. So please use it. Please take advantage of it. Make sure you're following the episode notes. And for those of you who aren't subscribed, please subscribe, because I know you tune in every week. We basically put out a new episode every other Friday. Things may change in the future. I'm working on some stuff in the pipe. Shh, keep your mouth closed. Let you know what comes out of that. But in the meantime, guys, take it easy. Enjoy your weekend. It's Friday. All right, guys. With that, I'm peacing out. Hope you enjoy your weekend.